Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Scofield Thomas, Managing Director of 800 Tech Limited, and today this is our first live stream that we're going to be having today. But as you know, 2020, 2021, a lot of things have been different. It has pushed us into areas that are pretty unfamiliar to us, but it's still necessary, nonetheless. So today, our topic of discussion is going to be EFlow, and it's going to be our partnership. We're going to discuss our partnership with Netoloji. Netoloji is a company out of Turkey that has created this application called EFlow. EFlow is a business process management application. And before I go any further, I want to acknowledge our business partners, Netoloji, Arun, Neil, Ezra, Tulga, I mean, these guys are phenomenal, great team, technically sound, and they're also solutions oriented. So it was a good pairing between 800 Tech and Netoloji because we're both along the same line. We are here to assist customers and help customers transition through this digital period. It's new for a lot of businesses, and we acknowledge that. So along the journey, because we started this transformation drive in 2020, and we recognized that because it was so new and so unfamiliar to a lot of people, that it posed some challenges for the managing directors, the CEOs, executive management, for them to really understand and grasp what is required for them to digitize their business. And 800 Tech's drive has always been about that, assisting the business community in digitizing their business, assisting the business community in utilizing technology, to drive your business and to meet your strategic objectives. So in 2020, we were looking at different methods that we could utilize to help customers, because with the pandemic, we know what happened. It drove a lot of businesses out of their comfort zone and into this relatively new digital area for them, an area where they did not know how to operate in, an area that was pretty unfamiliar, and they needed help. They needed help to be able to reach their customers where they are, because now everybody's at home, their customers are remote. How do I reach my customers? The only vehicle that was available and that was pretty active was the internet. So unless your business was ready digitally, it was difficult for you to get to your customers or sell to your customers or service your customers. So that is where EFlow came in. EFlow is here to help businesses to digitize their processes. That's why it's a business process management solution. It's pretty comprehensive. And I know some people will think, okay, a business process management solution, what does that mean? As a business owner, okay, you tell me it's a business process management solution, but what does that really mean for me? But a business process management solution is where you actually manage the processes of your business. But with EFlow, we're doing that digitally. So let's take, for instance, you have an organization where you have, let's take the sales channel, which we are most familiar with. You have to get your sales out to your customers, you receive your orders from your customers, and you have to put that through a process. So it go from the customers requesting an order, it comes through the sales department, and then the sales department fulfills that order and sends a quotation back to that customer. And then there's a process internally before you can actually deliver this service or good to your customer. That's the process flow that we're going to manage. Now, before, a lot of businesses, that process would be manual, meaning it'd be paper-based, pushing paper from one department to the other. With EFlow, the aim of the game and what we're doing is actually digitizing that process. Now, in simple terms, it's literally taking the exact same process, and in some cases, when you look at your process in a digital format, you recognize that you have to amend that process. With EFlow, it's quite simple to do that also. But we're taking that process to the same forms that you have. We can utilize that same structure, digitize that same structure in EFlow, so that's not unfamiliar to your customers, to your employees, so that they could continue that internal process. And digitally, it will flow from one to the other. So it's like a portal, or it's a solution where you could go every day and you can see your processes, or you can have it. You can have a notification that would come to your email, notifying you that you need to attend to something in this process. So a lot of questions we've had, because we've been talking about EFlow since September last year. We've been talking about EFlow. We've been doing some webinars on EFlow. We've been doing some demos, some proof of concepts on EFlow. And there are some customers that have questions on EFlow. How does it work? Where does it sit? You know, questions like these, we are here to answer. How am I going to digitize my business with EFlow? How are you so confident in EFlow that it could actually do what I needed to do? These are the questions that we are here to answer. And feel free at any point in time, you put your questions up in the chat, and we will answer your questions as we go along. So with EFlow, and I'll give you some examples. So there are two models of EFlow that we can actually utilize. We have what we call the on-premise EFlow, and we have the software as a service, which is just a fancy word for cloud service. All right. So you can actually utilize any one of these two methods of deployment for EFlow. So let's take the first one. On-premise. What does on-premise mean? On-premise is where you actually install the EFlow application on your servers in your company. That's what the on-premise means. And once you install it there, then it's just like any other service that you have running, or any other application that you have running in your environment or in your business. You have access to it, and you can then automate your process there simply. Then there's the SaaS, software as a service, which is, as most people would know, most people are more familiar with Amazon, Amazon Web Services, or Windows Azure. It would be there in that cloud environment, but of course, you can still access it. And the reason why you can still access it, because EFlow, you can access EFlow via any browser. Once it's installed, you can access EFlow via any browser, and that's how you pull up the application. So it's not installed on your desktop. It's installed in the cloud or on your premises, and you access the services of EFlow via your web browser. So once you install EFlow, it is quite simple to look at your processes. Now, in the past, a lot of businesses would have to now go through a re-engineering process where you look at what's happening in your company now, and then you sketch it out, and you draw it out, and then you go and you get it coded in. All right. With EFlow, it's a little different. It's like a two-in-one solution where your flow charts can actually not be replicated into EFlow quite easily. So there's something that we say with EFlow. It's called citizens development. And when we say citizen development, it's because it's that simple that anybody, could pretty much start coding and designing in EFlow and creating solutions in EFlow. All right. What is the difference between EFlow and other low-code applications? So we have other low-code applications that we utilize. One case in point is Microsoft Power Automate, Power Apps, sorry, that we utilize. But what is the difference between these two applications? In these scenarios, the Power App application is not necessarily geared for citizen development, because you need to have some measure of skill to be able to code in Power Apps and deliver the value that you need in Power Apps. Now, and again, let me say, nothing is wrong with Power Apps. Power Apps is pretty sound, but in terms of ease of development, EFlow is the choice, because it's pretty simple to just anybody who can create. If you could use Visio or Excel or Word, you can actually develop an application or develop a solution in EFlow. It's that simple. It's drag and drop. Everything is drag and drop. You connect the lines, and you activate, you save, you activate, and then you have your solution running. Now, the other thing is, in EFlow, you would always need to talk to other applications. When I say talk to other applications, you need to interface with your CRM solution, your core application, whether it be manufacturing, whether it be finance, to push and pull information from these applications. With EFlow, it's quite simple. You know, you have an API, you connect the API, you put in your credentials, you connect to these services, and you're able to feed information to your core applications, whether it's your CRM solution, whether it's Peachtree, whether it's Sage, whether it's QuickBooks, QuickBooks in the cloud, QuickBooks on-premise, Sage, same thing, your CRM solution on-premise, on the cloud, whether it's Microsoft Dynamics, whatever it is, there are APIs to connect EFlow into these applications. And the nice thing is it's pretty simple to do, that it's easy for anybody who is utilizing EFlow to be able to connect and push and pull information from. The APIs also can extend towards your website. So if, for instance, you want to start an application process via a website, a customer want to inquire about a sales, a product from your website, and they want to put through an order through your website, you can actually activate a process flow from your website. So when the customer clicks on submit via your website, the API is going to connect back to your internal process and activate a process flow. And activating that process flow is going to notify the relevant parties that they have something pending to action, and the process flow will keep going on. So we have some questions in here. Once implemented, does 800 Tech continue to provide us with support? Yes, we continue to provide support after every installation, during every installation. We stay, because we are a non-transactional company, so we stay in tune with our customers. And yes, we provide support for the solution. We have the first level support, which we would do in 800 Tech. For the more complex technical third tier support, we would then contact our business partners, Netoloji, and they would also provide that type of support. Can you access information from other databases from within EFlow? As I said before, yes, you can. There are other applications that you can access. Now, the good thing is when we do a consultation for you, we can actually do a proof of concept. And that proof of concept, we would actually be able to show you and tell you which applications we could connect to quite seamlessly. And when we install on your in your environment, then we could actually connect these databases for you, and we could actually show you how we could pull information from those databases and also push information to that database. Now, another interesting thing is, as we on that, once EFlow is connected to another or third-party database, we can, through the report writer, we can actually pull reports out of that data store or that database. All right, so that's something that's pretty unique also. Once we connect it to that database, and we can push and pull information from it or read information from it, within the report writer, we can actually spool a report based on what you're looking for in your company to know where you stand, what's happening with a process. And also within the process flow of EFlow, you can actually tell when an employee is sticking in terms of if they're not performing their task. You can set deadlines based on a group or a particular employee. So if you want to make sure that your sales orders are not sticking past 3 days in the sales department, you can actually set alerts to notify you, okay, if this is pending for more than 3 days, greater than 3 days, and we'll send you an alert so that you know, okay, we need to check. And at the end of whatever period, if it's a month or every 2 weeks or a week, you can actually spool the report and it will tell you, okay, what has been pending for how many days and where it has been pending from. So we have some more questions coming in here. How long does it take to implement EFlow? All right, so implementation of EFlow, the actual installation is pretty simple. And I'm happy that you asked that question, because now it brings us to what's required. With EFlow, it's pretty, you don't need much complex hardware to install EFlow. 2 gigs processor, 8 gigs of RAM, at least 5 gig storage, and a browser over IE8, and you can actually install EFlow. The actual installation is the easy part. You know, we can install that relatively quickly. What will take the time is the consultation to make sure that we understand your processes. We do your proof of concepts. We connect to whatever data stores that you need to connect to. And then we train your staff on how to actually utilize EFlow effectively. So every company will be different, depending on your work size. we would then be able to guesstimate and tell you, okay, based on what we see in your scope, this is how long it may take to implement EFlow in your environment, and we stick to that timeline as we go along. What are the common processes you can implement with EFlow? Okay, so with EFlow, as I say, and I like to tell customers is, the sky's the limit. Once you're creative enough, and you can think about the concept behind it, you can create that that process with EFlow or solution with EFlow. And I'll give you one example. So we were looking at creating a solution in EFlow to process payroll. At first, I was, okay, this is probably not the best solution to do that with. But then, I contacted the partners at EFlow, at Netoloji, and they, within a couple of hours, and for me, I was blown away. Within a couple of hours, they were able to basically give us a proof of concept of what a payroll solution would look like in a couple of hours. Now, naturally, if we're doing low code or coded applications, this process would take a lot longer. It may take us anywhere, if it's low code, it may take us probably 2 to 3 weeks to a month. If it's full coded, it may take us anywhere between 3 months to 6 months to actually execute that. But with EFlow, within a couple hours, we were able to do a proof of concept and then fine tune on that. So I would say, the sky's the limit in terms of what you can actually, what solutions you can actually produce with EFlow. Because the thing is, it's multi-sector, cross-industry. It's not specified or specific for one particular industry. So I'm not going to say it's for finance and retail, and it's not that. EFlow is cross industries. All industries can actually utilize EFlow, whether in finance, manufacturing, retail, construction, you name it. Once you have process flows in your business, EFlow is the solution for you. You can actually, create solutions utilizing EFlow quite easily. Can it be integrated with any systems we already have installed? Yes, that's the short answer. As I said before, EFlow, there are APIs. Once we connect to the APIs and you provide the credentials, yes, we can connect to those applications. But those things we would fine tune when we get to do consultation with the clients. We would get into more specifics at that point in time with our clients to understand, okay, what you're trying to do, and we would advise at that point in time how we could actually connect and what's the best process to utilize for that. All right. And as I said before, EFlow is here to help businesses, help you digitize, because the rapid rate of development that you can actually do. And the thing is, that title that I want you to remember, that citizen developer, that is very powerful, because you can actually create your own processes yourself. It's going to be pretty rapid. You don't need much outside interference in terms of developing your own solutions. And you can actually maintain and make changes to your processes. So if, for instance, sometimes based on what's happening in the economy, you may decide that, okay, you know what, I'm going to reduce a department, or I'm going to add a department. And in reducing or adding this department, you would have to change your process flow. Normally, with other applications, you would have to call in a developer or get a developer involved to actually change that flow. But with EFlow, you don't have to do that. You can actually change that flow yourself, because remember I told you it's drag and drop. Drag and drop, you connect to different areas, connect to different task forms, and you can change that process flow easily. You can actually edit your forms quite easily also. It's as simple as going into the designer and editing the form. So before, in the manual processes, we had to, if there's a change in a form, we had to dump all these forms or cross out items in a form and then reprint. This is some of the cost-saving measures in digitizing your business, because now all you have to do is go in, make a change in the designer, and then you reactivate and you republish that information. Everybody in the company would have the correct information. And another thing that we sometimes overlook, when we go to trade fairs like TIC or those other fairs that we have, the energy chamber commerce fairs, when we go to those things and we meet a new client or prospective client, and we have to now tell them about our service, and then we want to capture the information to send them some details. Most times we write that down on a form, or we tell them you have to call them back tomorrow or take the number. But with EFlow, you can actually stay from where you are, whether on your mobile, because there's a mobile app for EFlow also, or on your tablet or on your laptop. You can actually enter the customer's information there, and from that same location where you are remotely, you can actually satisfy and fulfill that customer's inquiry or order. You know, that's the power of digitization and utilizing EFlow. So wherever you are, your business never stops. It's running constantly. You have technology on your side that is actually helping to drive your business. Should I have a technical background to learn EFlow? Sorry. No, you don't need a technical background. As I said, it's pretty simple. If you can use flowcharts, Visio, Microsoft Word, Word Art, it's that simple. It's drag and drop. You just connect and you drag and drop whatever it is you want, you want to connect to. It's pretty simple. It's really simple. And if you look at our last webinar, we went through some of the concepts, and I'll probably share it again on our social media platform so that you can actually see it, or you can feel free to go to our 800 Tech YouTube page and our channel and actually look at the last webinar we did about EFlow, and you would see how easy it is to utilize EFlow and create solutions. Can I have documents, images, attachments to my processes? Yes. So there are customers that in their process flows, they don't just complete a form, but they would ask customers to submit hard copy documents, whether it's certificate of incorporation, bank statements, stuff like that, company profile. But naturally, with the manual process, they would probably fax that in, or God forbid, fax it in, or probably email that information into you separately. But now with the digital process, we can actually capture that on the fly with EFlow. So where the customer would actually fill out the information, we can actually upload JPEG, PDF, Word documents, Excel straight into EFlow, and it's stored in the database. And you can also reference that information later on. So if you're a company that you always field applications and customers always come back to you for the same type, or you have a nice customer base and they come back to you pretty often in terms of reordering, you don't have to go through the whole process over again. Within EFlow, there are tools that we can utilize that would record the information for you. So let's say, for instance, the information that doesn't change really, which is the customer name, the customer number, address, phone number, those things. Once those things don't change, you can actually set in EFlow to recall that information from the database. So when you pull the customer's name, it would just pull that information pre-populated for you. And the only thing you would have to do is just put in the changes. If the customer is ordering 10 boxes now instead of 6, you can just adjust that and you continue the process. So it's going to make things a lot faster, a lot snappier. It's going to boost efficiency in your business. And everybody know that's how you gain your competitive advantage, by increasing efficiency. And of course, once you do that, you will then enhance your customer experience. And enhancing your customer experience is where you're going to have customer retention, high customer retention, because everybody would want to deal with the customers who are pretty efficient. And we need to understand that in this new digital phase that we're in, if we notice, most of government services in Trinidad and Tobago, they're going e-commerce, or they're going online. A lot of the services, we just saw licensing office, we just saw legal affairs ministry going online. So a lot of things are digital already. So we need to transform our business to integrate and be able to feed information directly into these other platforms. With EFlow, those things are quite possible. We are working on a solution right now with a client where we're going to be interfacing with a government service. we're going to tie it directly into government service to push information into, these things are possible. So you don't have to now send a courier, racing down to the port or racing down to legal affairs. These things are all going to be interconnected at the end. And you can just simply stay from your office, and at the end of your process, or wherever part of your process it's at, when you click on submit, it would then interface with these government services or other applications that you need to interface with, but it's a third-party app, and push that information to it. I have some more questions here. Let me just check those. Is it possible to query a database and retrieve data from query and use on a process? Yes. So as I said before, it's quite possible to, to query databases and also not just utilize the information in the process flow, but also spool reports from that query if we want to. So if you have an application that you have in your environment and you don't have a report writer with it, once we connect it with EFlow, we can actually then spool information out of that and create reports that you were looking for. Because I know that's a sticking point for a lot of customers. The creation of reports, they charge a lot of money to generate reports. Every time you want a report generated, they want to charge you to generate a report. With EFlow, it's pretty simple. It's a lot simpler to generate these reports. So you're going to reduce your expenses significantly. And most companies just tend to do without the report because it's too costly to produce that report. And if things change or time changes and they need another report, the cost is just too much. It's prohibitive for them. But now things are different. With a low-code solution, like a no-code solution like EFlow, you can actually have those things completed. How about users? Can EFlow integrate with Active Directory? Can user roles be defined for different access levels? Yes. Just give me one sec. Yes, so EFlow can integrate with Active Directory. And the Active Directory users would be part of the EFlow process. So it's going to be one and the same. So you're not going to have two different sets of users. So it's almost like a single sign-on type setting where they sign on with their network credentials and they operate as them. So for instance, in my case, it would be Scofield at 800tech.com, my Active Directory login. So once I utilize that same thing in EFlow, once we synchronize with Active Directory, it's going to be the same user going through the process. And within EFlow, we can actually email from within EFlow directly. That's something I forgot to mention. So if, for instance, at the end of your process, you normally have to email a receipt out to your customer or email a progress report to your customer or whatever it is, once we configure the email integration in EFlow, you can actually now email your information to your customers from within EFlow without leaving EFlow pretty seamlessly. All right, what is required to install EFlow? As I said before, for those who weren't there earlier on, EFlow doesn't require much hardware to install. 2 GHz processor, 8 gigs of RAM, over IE8, preferably Chrome, at least 5 gigs of RAM, 5 gig storage space, and you can have Windows 2008 and above. All right. So EFlow doesn't require much to install. And again, you can be installed on your premises or in your company or on a SaaS solution or Amazon Web Services, Azure, a cloud service like that. It could be like that. And again, you access EFlow via web browser. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy to access EFlow, throughout your cycle. Because the thing is, given this pandemic where we have workers remote, so we have a hybrid approach sometimes, some workers at the office, some workers remotely, it's easy to synchronize because once you log in via VPN, if you're connected, if EFlow is installed on your premises in your office, once you log on via VPN, it's easy to pull it up and access it via a web browser. Pretty simple. If it's in the cloud, same concept, web browser, pretty simple to allow you to then continue your business. Do I need IT staff to utilize the software? No. So again, in some companies, what we've done is actually showcase this solution to what we call section heads or the main technocrats. and they're non-technical people. They actually just know the industry or know their department well, and they're the ones who we will do the consultation and have the workshops with, and then design a proof of concept and then ultimately a solution. So no, you don't have to be an IT person. Again, as I said, drag and drop. Once you know how to use, how to drag literally and drop information, use flowcharts. Once you can do those things, and most professionals can, it's pretty simple, to utilize. So you don't have to have any major technical skills to be able to utilize EFlow. It's pretty simple. Can I call web APIs to integrate with the third parties? Yes, you can. Of course you can. So as I said before, with web APIs, you can connect it straight to your website, and you can actually get a process started from your website. You can interface, and a lot of us, we use, including us, we utilize 365 services. You can actually do API calls from there to push information to Dynamics, push information to different applications within that 365 environment. Some CRM solutions, they are web-based. You can actually utilize that API also to pull information from those web-based CRM solutions to help with your process flows and pull customer information from it. So it's a pretty comprehensive solution, guys. And what I want you to take away from this is that EFlow is citizen developer type application. No code. I didn't say low code. I said no code. It's no code. It's pretty simple. And if you're interested in getting a proof of concept done for your business, we do that without any charge. Those things are free. We can help you with your proof of concept to show you. I know sometimes you may be skeptical, but we will show you the power of EFlow. So it's almost as if you see a concept before you actually get involved in the process. And if you want to see the integration, call us, chat with us at 800tech, info at 800-tech.com, email us, and we will organize to show you some proof of concepts, and we will chat about how we do the integrations and how we can actually integrate it into your business. Can I send notifications to users or externals? Yes, you can. You can send notifications to your users. With externals, we would have to get a little more information in terms of what you want to send to the externals. And once we have that understanding of what you're trying to achieve, we can then help you with that. And the good thing is that we have the backing of Netoloji. I mean, and I must say these guys are amazing in terms of their technical skills, in terms of their know-how, and their willingness. I think is quite notable. Their willingness to look for solutions to ensure that the customers are satisfied and happy. And I think for us, in working with business partners, that's what we look for, because customers nowadays, we need that. They need that type of relationship with customers. And 800tech has always been non-transactional. We are not just going to install an application and walk away and never see us again. We are there with you. We want to understand how you're utilizing the solution. We want to make sure you're utilizing the solution properly, and we want to make sure that you can get the most out of the solution possible. So we are always here for you. And if you know, we also do custom built applications. We also utilize EFlow to overlay and to pull and push information from those custom built applications that we make, that we create, and also from Power Apps. That's how we utilize EFlow. EFlow is our main go-to application to help to glue everything and synchronize everything together to create what we call an ecosystem of technology, a digital ecosystem to help your business to move forward. So if we have no more questions, guys, I want to thank you for signing on, and please feel free to subscribe to our YouTube channel, 800tech Limited. Check us out on LinkedIn, 800tech Limited. Check me out also. I'm Scofield Thomas. The other director is Nadia Thomas. Also, subscribe to our Facebook page, where we're going to have lots more information, because we continuously put information out there, and we're going to keep showing you proof of concepts. And if you're interested in understanding how EFlow could benefit your business, please feel free to contact us, and we would we organize a proof of concept, no charge, no obligation to you, and we will show you how we can actually utilize EFlow in your business to help you. So thank you very much, guys, for signing in, and please have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.